Hello and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 320. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Matt Paul Despawn. Despawn, how are you, son?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Thank you for coming in last minute. I appreciate it.
All good, bud. All good.
It's been a hell of a week. It's for those who don't know, my week again. I know every week I've come on the podcast lately, just like I'm doing this and I'm doing that. This week was just pretty much the same. Honestly, I went to Will Smith this week and got to see him perform and do a book thing. We're at Twitch London. If I sound super raspy, that is why. I was at Twitch London yesterday and Friday. What else did I do? I think some stuff I can't talk about. Some other stuff that I've been doing. So it's been a crazy couple of weeks, I'll be honest. This was my last event though. So this should be the last episode that comes out late for the My Xbox and Me audience. I do apologise. I am sorry. How you been though, Despawn? You been good?
I've been good, man. I've been really good, yeah. Playing lots of video games.
For people who don't know who you are, give them a quick hello and to what you do and who you are.
Hello. No, I am Paul Despawn, formerly known as Despawn Games. I am a content creator on Twitch and YouTube. You usually find me over there every week. I generally do variety games. I've started a new podcast series, the Despawn Podcast, where I'm talking to fans about their fandoms. And yeah, that's generally me, just a lot of creating content all over the shop.
Fair enough. Make sure you go check him out. I'll put him in the description below of this week's episode. If you didn't know what My Xbox and Me is our weekly Xbox podcast here on youtube.com/myxboxandme, and of course all podcast services. If you want the show early and to help support the show financially, head over to patreon.com/mcfixer. We're 320 episodes in. We don't run ads. We haven't for over 5 years. We are strictly funded by the people such as you lot listening. So if you have the means to be able to support, patreon.com/mcfixer is where we need all of your support each week. I told you guys I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive with pushing Patreon because I've been very slow with it. I've not been as aggressive with promotion, but it's going to pick up a little bit. We need your support to keep growing, so please do continue supporting. Patreon producers this week, we have the one and only Aaron Guard. Thank you very much, sir. We do appreciate you. And the content creator himself, FNH Paul. Thank you, boys, for your continued support and being Patreon producers. Despawn. Topic of the show this week, we had the big, let's say big, it wasn't actually, it was big in some ways and then not big in other ways. It was a weird one, right? It's the Xbox's 20th anniversary celebration stream. Aaron Greenberg came out, said, don't expect any new game announcements. This isn't going to be like a news beat. Technically, it was right, but there was a lot of big stuff that did get announced here. Did you have a chance to check out the show by any chance?
Yeah, I watched the entire thing live. I thought it was a really good show. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, it was right and kind of wrong in equal measure. There wasn't anything new, but there was definitely something we knew about.
There was a lot of stuff there that mattered, right? So what was your thoughts of the show overall?
I thought it was a really good look back on like the last 20 years. I think they showed off like the history of Xbox really well. I loved seeing all those like the big E3 moments and things like that, and it gave me those happy feelings inside about why I love Xbox and those moments that they create. So that was really good. I thought there's some good announcements. There were some things that I'm really looking forward to. Some things I'm happy exist. And then obviously the big announcement at the end, which we'll obviously talk about.
Yes, don't worry, we'll get to it. So yeah, for those who didn't watch it and you want a little bit of a rundown, we will be getting a 6-part documentary series, which is the history of the launch of Xbox, which is coming out December. In the UK, I believe we can watch it on YouTube. In the US, I don't know where it's showing.
I'm not too sure.
It might be YouTube as well, but
yeah, I know it is on YouTube, Roku, and a couple of other streaming services.
Got ya. Yeah, so that to me was probably the second biggest piece of news to come out of this. I love documentaries. I've said this a lot. I love NoClip and what they do, but to see I'm not gonna say a higher end, but just a different. To have the insight that obviously Xbox have with their own company to produce their own show it's going to be crazy. And to hear the stories and to hear you always hear little rumblings about little stories when you go to events and stuff, but to actually hear it from the horse's mouth is going to be really fun. And to hear how Microsoft didn't even want to make Xbox and things like that, it's going to be super, super dope to watch. What I do want the My Xbox Me audience to let me know, would you like us to do a watch along on YouTube, or what we're thinking of doing is doing a giant watch along in the MC Fixer Discord, where we will watch it together, we'll be quiet, and then we talk about it afterwards. Let us know. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want, and we will try and make that happen. Are you excited for the documentary?
I'm like you. I love seeing the background stories of things. I know just from like past experience and reading stories and stuff, there is a lot of exciting stories around just the creation of Xbox and how it almost never happened.
Yep.
And it was. I think I watched an interview recently with one of the creators, and it was basically, he decided to do it as a big middle finger to Sony.
Yeah.
Because they said they were going to come in and do all this thing, and he went, no, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a big fight to get it to happen, but I'm just so excited that it is. And I'm excited to see more stories like that.
Yeah, I mean, any stories that we can get in the games industry for me is super important. Like, there's a lot of untold stories and gems out there. So I'm happy. I'm happy that we're getting this story. The next piece of news that they added is that Xbox are adding another 70 new backwards compatible original Xbox and 360 titles. This is obviously a big piece of news for people who. This is a big piece of news for people who care about old games. Number one. And number two, for preservation of video games, is what I think is even the bigger piece of news in terms of, as an industry, I think that's something we do quite poorly in video games. We're very quick to move on, as I'm sure the My Xbox and Me audience already know. Me, I'm very old games old, who cares, blah, blah, blah. I understand that's because of what I do for a job. I need to keep moving, I need to be onto the new thing. But from a historical, thank you, point of view, I'm happy Xbox are doing this, and I'm happy that they understand how important this is, and clearly they do, because they make PC stuff, and obviously that's a huge part of the PC ecosystem, is being able to go back and play whatever the hell you want. It's nice to see Xbox also dive in deep and be able to do this as well. Are you into old games or not?
Yeah, I mean, I'm old, so old Despawn is old. But no, I love it. I love this as a thing that Xbox have done. I know it's been a massive push for them from the beginning. I did see a slight addendum to this story. This is the last addition to backwards compatibility. So these last 70 games are going to be the last ones they can add. Basically, I think it's like usage rights and things like that.
Licensing, licensing things of we just can't get some of these other games.
They've basically got everything now that you can get without having to sign new licenses. I think that's fantastic. I think the additions that they make into the game, so with the FPS boost and things like that, is fantastic. Again, bringing those old games up to like a modern standard is fantastic. I think what Xbox have done with the Series X and S and that ecosystem is brilliant. And yeah, so I love these old games. It's nice to go back and see, especially if you're on a nostalgia trip and just want to see where your favorite series started, what are the big tentpole games. So we talk about, one of the games that's in there is the Dragon Age series.
Yeah.
Just seeing BioWare at their best and being able to go back and play those games. We won't talk about recent BioWare. It's fine. But I believe they'll do something great one day. But yeah, no, being able to go back and see those those tentpole games and being able to go back and play them again and experience them for the first time for some people is a brilliant addition to this kind of generation. And I know Phil Spencer's been very big up on the industry going in on emulation and preserving games. So I think this is step one in that.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm very excited for this.
I think the big thing here, like you already said, there's 37 more backwards compatible games getting FPS boost added to it. So it's not only the fact that these games are being preserved and being able to be played on newer hardware, but the fact that they're also going to run better and look better is also wow, that's actually crazy to think. Steady frame rates. Obviously, this is not. They're not remakes of games and stuff like that. This is just the hardware doing it, helping games run better, look better, feel better. Yeah, so it's a nice touch from Xbox, and something I don't think they get applauded for enough, in my opinion.
I think it's changed the industry a little bit because I know, like, at the beginning of this generation with the Series X and S and the PS5, it was very much a case of PlayStation are very much like you, like, old game is old, we don't want to
Yeah,
touch it. If you want the old games, go buy an old
go buy an old
console.
console. Yeah,
When now it seems like there is a bit more of a push with them. They're kind of like trying to bring backwards compatibility a bit with these, like, the PS5 editions. I think Death Stranding got one, God of War got an update. So they're trying to bring these things, like, tooth and nail drag it into the modern generation. But I think Xbox are, like, full on making a big push for this, and I think it's definitely a game changer that they do not get enough credit for.
yeah, no, I agree. The next piece of news, I guess, was we finally got to see our first look teaser of the Halo live action TV series. Did nothing for me personally. It did nothing for me. I'm not excited for this. I don't care about this. We still don't even know where we can watch it in the UK because they're only advertising Paramount Plus, and we don't even have that over here. What did you think of the first look?
Wasn't impressed by the look of it. I mean, it's your standard dude in a, like, it's cosplay dude in a Master Chief suit. But the idea behind it, I'm excited for. Like, I think Halo, if you dig deep into it, has got an amazing lore, especially with the expanded universe in the books and stuff. I reckon if they do it well, which I believe they will with Steven Spielberg producing it, I think they could put on a really good show, and I think they can dig into some really good stories if they focus on the right elements.
I don't think they're going to, unfortunately.
I mean, you're probably right, but I don't know. I mean, they are working directly with Microsoft, so maybe they might pull something out of the bag.
Maybe.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but like I said, I'm excited for the prospect of a Halo TV show. We'll see what that looks like going forward. There's been a couple of TV shows I've been disappointed with recently that I was excited for, so yeah.
It's a shame. It's a shame. I hope it's good. I just don't think it will be. We'll have to wait and see, unfortunately. And the last piece of news, which is obviously they saved the best till last, they showed off the Halo Infinite multiplayer and said that it was launching today as the day of this being shown. It's now been out, what's it been, 5 days, 4 days? Where we at?
Yeah, about 4 or 5 days, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, in fact, it's almost a week. Yeah, it dropped on the Monday, didn't it?
Was it Monday?
Yeah,
The show?
Yeah, the show was a Monday.
Time. I'm losing days, I swear. But the big news was obviously they launched the multiplayer out of nowhere. It kind of leaked beforehand, which was a shame. But for someone like me, I didn't know it was getting launched that day because I didn't see the leak. I was very, very excited. We'll talk more about the Halo Infinite multiplayer in What's in Your Box because we've both been playing it. But are you enjoying it?
Oh, so much.
Okay.
I've been weird with Halo. Like, I love the campaigns, but multiplayer's not really something I've been touched. But obviously, with this just being multiplayer, I was like, well, I kind of got to play it. It's part of my job. And yeah, I've absolutely fallen in love with it. I think every improvement they've made from the previous series shows so much in here. I think that year delay has done them wonders. And yeah, I might have had a little tear in my eye when the announcement happened as well. Yeah, because I was watching along, and yeah, I saw the leaks. And I was like, no, they won't do it. They can't do it. That's just wildness on the internet. That's never going to happen. And then they did it, and yeah, I tied up a little bit. I'm so excited. I like the way that they let the developers announce it as well.
Yeah,
I thought that was really good because obviously they've had a hard few years, but definitely a hard year this year with the delay for a year. Obviously working through the pandemic. It's been probably the hardest for it's been the hardest for a lot of people. But yeah, for that team alone, I can imagine it's been hard, especially with it being like the tentpole title for Xbox. But yeah, like I think it's they've done a fantastic job of bringing it. And yeah, that announcement was fantastic.
It's. I was so happy to see them do it. Obviously, it was one of those ones where I was waiting for them to show more campaign as well because I thought the show was longer. I didn't think it was a bad thing to end on, but I was just expecting a little bit more in terms of seeing more of the campaign. I'm kind of glad we didn't see more because we already see a lot during that trailer they put out the other day, the first look thing. And yeah, we'll talk about Infinite multiplayer in what's been in our box. But yeah, it's I'm I am even enjoying it, but we'll talk about it in a second. Let's jump into Fix This Sack. Remember, you can email in myxboxandmepodcast@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on socials at myxboxandme on the Twitters, or you can hit me up on my personal Twitter at mcfixer, or we got the Discord. We're everywhere. If you want to ask us questions, please do. First one here says, "Hey Fix, Fresh Crash, and Matt P's dead corpse." Sorry, they're not here this week.
I'm going to say, which one am I? Am I the dead corpse?
I guess you're dead corpse, yeah. I hope you are well. I apologise that this is not a question, but instead it's a thank you. I've been listening to the podcast for just over a year now and look forward to listening every week. It's gotten me through some rough times during the pandemic, such as closing down my business, delaying my wedding twice, and my fiancée Hayley breaking her knee in a car crash. I am finally getting married this Friday and things are looking up. You guys got me through it all and gave me something to look forward to every Friday, so thank you. I also would like to give Fix a special thank you for advising me not to buy the Series S or the Xbox One X and wait for the Series X instead. I managed to get one at the end of September. Again, thank you for all you've done for me over the past year and a half. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Best regards, Lewis Glover. P.S. Could you please give a shout out to my wife Hayley, as she is forced to listen to all my podcasts on our 5-hour drive up North Wales. Well, first of all, congratulations to both of you on your special day, your wedding. And number two, thank you so much for writing in, Lewis. I do appreciate it. You helped me. I can only talk from my behalf. But you helped me get through the pandemic. Doing my Xbox and me, though we were doing it before the pandemic, obviously for many years before, but knowing that people were listening is always the driving force for why we do this show. And it's always the driving force for why being a content creator is so important, right? And that's why it's so hard when you don't get the numbers that you want, because you just want people to listen. And to know that you're listening, to know that we are helping in any way, big or small, period in your life, and whether it's people driving their cars right now, or whether it's people who are mowing lawns, or whatever it is that you do for a living, and you happen to stumble across this dumb, stupid podcast, thank you. But thank you, Lewis. We really do appreciate you writing in, and thank you so much for enjoying it. Congratulations on your wedding, and obviously a huge shout out to your wife Hayley for putting up with you. Because if you listen to this podcast, you must be a pain in the butt cheeks. So Hayley, shout out to you. I hope you guys had an amazing wedding. Hopefully I get to see some photos. So send them through so I can have a look. I'd appreciate it. Next question is from Toplift, who says, with the next-gen consoles now a year old, how have you enjoyed your first year with them? What have you enjoyed? What have you not enjoyed? What would you like to see in the next year? Hope you're well. Matt, whack on that tinfoil hat. So it's been a year now. I posted my picture of me and my Xbox, me and my PlayStation, and of course me in hospital, because it's been a year since I was in hospital. For those who remember that episode, which was like a 2-minute episode, it's been a year since I almost died, which is nuts. Absolutely crazy. But do you have any? When did you get your next gen consoles, Despawn?
Day one for the Xbox.
Yeah,
I got the Xbox day one. I think it was like a day delayed just for delivery, but
yeah.
I ordered that. I got that pre-ordered straight away. I fought to get the other one that we don't talk about on this podcast unless it's Matt P. And that one is now collecting dust. So
yep, mine too.
To show shows how much that was. So I got that day one, and I do not regret a single day of owning it.
I think again for me, it's the quality of life things that you don't think about is what makes the Xbox Series X so amazing. It is fast switching games. It is the faster load times. It is HDR. It's the SSD. It is all of it. And I think it's been a great first year for the console. Actually, let me say good. I think it's been a good first year for the console. We've had some really decent games come out on it. But I don't think Xbox has had that big heavy hitter. I'm going to contradict myself because, of course, I know everyone listening is going, you're an idiot, Forza. And yes, I agree with you, but it's not the...
It's
Again,
taken a year to get there.
It's not even that. It's because I'm going to say, oh yeah, but that doesn't get everybody involved, and then you see the numbers for Forza. It's like, well, clearly everybody is involved. What I mean is, it isn't a game that you can run the brand through. It's not a Gears. It's not a Halo. It's not a mascot. It's not a Nathan Drake. It's not a Kratos. It's not a Lara Croft. Do you know what I mean? Like, Forza's cars. It's cars, and we know what that is. So I don't think they've had that game yet, and I'm still waiting for that game to come. That's really going to take Xbox to the next level in terms of first party. But from a hardware point of view, I think it nailed it. The consoles are working. The consoles work. There's no problems. Plenty of ventilation. I think compared to their competitors, it's more powerful. It's got more storage space. It did now everything that we kind of hoped for, if I'm being honest.
I think they also made a really good move on the kind of like the infrastructure software side as well. So quick resume, play anywhere, making the move to push their games over to PC and just have that crossplay working seamlessly. I think the marketing plan that Xbox have had for this year, and obviously the next few years going forward, I'm sure, has worked perfectly. And I think the Xbox has been right in the center of that. And I think for me personally, just owning it as a consumer, it's been fantastic. As a creator, it's almost vital now for me. And I absolutely love everything they've done so far this year. I don't want to say I'm a fanboy, but I'm totally on board with everything that Xbox have done this generation so far. And I think, the Xbox Series X for me specifically, and I think the S as well, has been right at the center of that.
It's been a good year for Xbox. Mm-hmm. It really has. It really has been a good year.
I think it's been a really good year. I'll just add to that. I
would
say that, like, the beginning of the year was a bit like, I think it feels weird. Like, I think Xbox and PlayStation have kind of flipped a little bit. So, like, right at the beginning of the generation, it felt like there wasn't a lot of Xbox games to play. Whereas PlayStation were dropping Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank, and just game after game really quickly in quick succession. But these last few months, especially, I feel like it's just been month after month of quality AAA titles from Xbox, and not really a lot from PlayStation. I think Deathloop was probably the last big one I can think of. So
what are you classifying as quality AAA for Xbox then?
So I'd say like Forza, Psychonauts 2.
See, is that triple? I wouldn't classify it as triple. Double A.
Double and a little lowercase a.
Double Fine to me is a double A studio. It's not a triple A.
But I think it's a fantastic game, and it's definitely worthy. Again, I don't know if it's in here. I've not read through the full notes, but obviously Game Awards got announced. And that is one of the nominations for Game of the Year. Definitely deserves to be in that list. And I think obviously this month coming up, we've got Halo. And I think, they just seem to be going, like, they seem to be picking up speed, and all of the plans they made at the beginning are really coming to fruition for me for Xbox. And I think, they're definitely setting this up for some long-term success.
Definitely. Top Lift, your second question is what are we hoping to see / be revealed at the Game Awards? We'll talk about Game Awards next week, just so I've got the guys here and we can do like a whole thing about it. So don't think I ignored your question, but we'll talk about it all of Game Awards next week. Let's jump into what's been in our box then, Despawn. What have you been playing, my friend?
I mean, Halo. Nothing but Halo. I spent... We'll talk about it, obviously, probably. But I spent a couple of days, a couple of hours just flipping between, again, talking about Xbox and how great their infrastructure is. They just recently released the cloud gaming update for the new generation. So you can just play cloud games now on your Xbox Series X, your Xbox One. I've been trying that out. So again, I jumped into a couple of rounds of Halo using that on my Xbox One X, using cloud.
How was it?
A couple of other games. Absolutely flawless. I would add that I am running like direct fiber via Ethernet cable and like 500 meg speed, so I'm getting a good connection anyway. But I couldn't tell the difference, honestly. And I was playing some puzzle games which involve obviously quite a lot of intricate button presses, so you have to be like on form. There's no lag or anything. It basically felt like I downloaded the game and started playing it. I've been playing a couple of games. I tried I Am Fish for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
A weird like kind of get to A to B kind of puzzle game.
Yeah.
That was fun, but I don't know if it's one I go back to. But it was definitely fun to try out. And then yeah, just a week of Halo.
So, what are your overall thoughts with a week of Halo in you? What do you think of the game then?
High level thoughts. I think they have done an amazing job. I think the year delay shows from even just from a couple of the early previews that we saw. I think they've done an absolutely amazing job over at 343. Again, I've said earlier that I was never a massive multiplayer fan when it came to Halo. I was always very much campaign heavy. But this has been a multiplayer game that I've just loved spending my time in. It is so much fun squadding up with friends and just running rampant through some capture the flags of stronghold matches.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they've done an amazing job. I can see me spending a lot of time in this game. And I think they did a really good job dropping it early for building that hype for the campaign reveal next month.
Yeah, I probably put about 7 hours in, something like that. I really enjoy it. I think Halo multiplayer is a lot of fun. As most of you know, not a Halo guy at all. And definitely not a Halo multiplayer guy at all. Like, it's never interested me. Day one, really enjoyed it. Enjoying learning the maps, learning the new modes. You've got to think like Griffball and stuff like that isn't modes that I'm not familiar with. So even playing it, I'm like, oh man, it's actually a lot of fun. It plays phenomenally. I've been playing on mouse and keyboard, so I've been playing on PC, and it plays amazing. It feels amazing. It is very, 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 very good. The only thing I would say from what I've played so far is, and I know and this is something I've had a conversation about, and people are like, I'm missing it, and I understand why I'm missing it because I've never played the previous games, but it's more Halo. And that is what it is. But I think the thing that I am missing, and people are quick to remind me, is you've got to remember Halo hasn't felt like Halo in a really long time, is what people keep telling me. So we talk about Halo 2, Halo 3 multiplayer, right? And people are like, this feels like Halo 2 and Halo 3. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense, because that's what I remember. They're the ones I remember most playing. And it feels exactly like that. But I am not quite understanding that we've had a number of Halo games since 2 and 3 that haven't quite felt right to people. And
you
this
the dark times.
No, exactly. I wasn't. And I think that's the big thing from a non-Halo fan's point of view, right? It's more Halo, and that's a great thing, and that's why I'm enjoying it, and that's why I'm enjoying playing it. But to people that are hardcore Halo fans, like, yeah, Halo's back. And I think that's a really remarkable thing. I feel like the multiplayer was always in a healthy place. I know you're saying that the year off has done them good. I don't know how much. Clearly it has done them good, because having more time will always help. But I always thought the multiplayer was going to be fine. It was always the campaign that I've been worried about. And time will tell. That the campaign isn't that far away. At the end of the day, and I'm looking forward to being able to play it. But yeah, time will tell. Time will tell, and yeah, I'm glad the multiplayer's out. I'm enjoying playing it. Looking for a squad to play with, so please hit me up, anybody. Hit me up on Twitter if you want to play. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Really, really, really enjoying it.
I think the thing that, again, going to what people have been saying about it feels like Halo again. I think the problem that like Halo 4 and 5 specifically had was they were trying to make it too much like every other shooter, like make it a bit more fast-paced and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which isn't what Halo feels like, and I think that is what they kind of lost. This feels like that really good middle ground, so it feels like when you're running around, you feel like Master Chief, like the classic Halo 1 to 3 and Reach. So let's say the Bungie era of Master Chief.
Yeah.
It feels like that, but it's got those added extras to kind of like bring it up to more modern standards. So you've got like the grapples, the quick dodges, things like that, the clambers. So those kind of like quality of life extras that just make it feel a bit more fast paced without taking the heart out of it, which is I think something that was lost from the earlier games. I think this does a really good job of capturing that. So I think that's probably where people like it feels like Halo again, but it also feels slightly modern still, which is great.
Yeah, for someone like me who's jumping in, we're like, oh yeah, this feels great. But if you're someone, again, like you've just said, It's those small, minute details that make it feel good for old school players, but it is also now been modernized with the tools in which you just spoke about. So, yeah, man, overall, very positive experience with Halo multiplayer so far. Haven't had the chance to play Halo with the boys. I can't even get them to show up for the podcast anymore. So, you can see why I'm so against playing video games with them. Can't you, audience? Can't you? Let's jump into this week's dashboard, Despawn. Let's get through it. Let's get through some of this amazing news that we have.
Before we do,
yeah.
Just to go back to the Halo thing, I would say there is a couple of negatives I have. One negative mainly, and I think it's the one that a lot of people have shared. It is the Battle Pass.
We're going to get to that. That's why I'm holding off. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So this week's dashboard, we got Forza news coming up, which is Forza Horizon 5 had the biggest first week in Xbox history. Microsoft has confirmed that Forza Horizon 5 has seen the biggest launch of any Xbox title in history, being played, with having now 10 million players. 10 million players.
It's a lot of players.
I think from my point of view, I've been covering Xbox for such a long time now. I remember when Sunset came out and Rise of Rome and all these really fun Xbox exclusives, and they just weren't getting numbers. And to look where they were then, to see where we are now with Forza Horizon 5 has 10 million players in a week. Wild. Absolutely wild. Big shout out to Playground Games. Great studio. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I cannot wait for Fable. I believe in what's coming with Fable. I really, 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 really do. Yeah, man. I'm super proud of him. Have you played Forza Horizon 5 at all?
Played a ton of it, yeah. I'm definitely one of probably the newer players to it, in so much as like I'm not a racing fan. It's not something I've ever played. I played like bits of Horizon 4, a bit of the earlier motorsports, but never one that kind of got its hooks into me. This one has done it. I think the world they've built is beautiful. Some of the arcadey elements that they've brought into it is a ton of fun. And yeah, it's just wonderful driving around. And I think it is truly one of the most beautiful games I've seen on a console as well.
Yeah,
so far.
It's remarkable.
They've done a phenomenal job. And like you say, I cannot wait to see what they do with the world of Fable. If they make it even look like the world that they've built of Mexico, with the different vistas and stuff.
Yep.
I can't wait. I'm honestly so excited.
Me too. Really. I really, really, really am. Really. But congratulations to Playground on 10 million players. Next piece of news. Halo related. Halo Infinite campaign co-op and Forge mode releases were pushed back. So you won't be getting the co-op option for campaign mode until May 2022 at the earliest. And the 4 modes will be further down the line. Speaking to Eurogamer 343 head and creative Joseph Statham confirmed that the game's extension of Halo Infinite Season 1 means that 2 much requested features have been delayed. When 343 announced that the campaign would not be at launch, they made it clear that it would drop during Season 2 and Season 3 in the latter stages. Statham confirmed that with Season 1 now taking place for around 6 months instead of the planned 3, those modes would also be pushed back. It's really sucky that co-op is not there. Forge mode I can get over, but I understand that people, if you're annoyed and you're upset by this, you should be and you can be. I don't think this is one of those things that, like, oh, get over it. It's like, no, like, some people's Halo campaigns were played co-op. If they did this for Gears, oh my god, I'd be through the roof.
Yeah.
Through the roof. So
I was just gonna say, like, my entire history with Gears is playing it co-op.
Yeah.
And yeah, if I was someone like that who did that with Halo, I would be rightfully upset. I mean, playing devil's advocate, I mean, if it's not ready, it's not ready. They are building an open world game for the first time. If
it's not ready, delay the game.
Yeah, but again, they've just had 1 year delay. I mean, yeah, you're right.
It's not ready.
Yeah.
If it's not ready, it's not ready. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand the reason of like we got to get this out the door, and they probably see the numbers for the amount of people who actually play multiplayer. I understand all that, but if you are somebody who's excited for Halo Infinite, and the way you play is with your brother, with your sister, with your grandma, with your fiance, with your whatever, yeah? You are now not going to get to have the experience that you want.
Yeah.
And you're not getting it for a long time. It's not like it's coming a month after, or it's coming a week after, or it's coming 2 weeks. No, 6 months. That's a long old time to be waiting for a campaign that you've been waiting how many years for as well. So I am definitely of the mind, if you're upset by this, you're allowed to be upset. Obviously, don't be mean, don't be nasty, don't be stupid on the internet. But I feel for you guys. I really, really, really do. So I'm with you. I'm with you. I understand. Next piece of Halo news is all about the controversial multiplayer progression system. I've been saving this one. I haven't said anything on Twitter or anything like that because I was waiting for the podcast. It's probably the only thing I dislike about the entire multiplayer.
Yeah.
Is its progression system.
There's a couple of points, but yeah, it's all mainly around the progression system.
The big thing for me is the progression system. I am not somebody anymore, unfortunately, who has time to be amazing at video games. It's not something I'm able to do anymore, and I do not like my time being wasted, and I like to feel like I'm progressing at all times. Something I think Call of Duty does really well with their Battle Pass. Something I think Fortnite does amazing with. Rocket League, the list goes on. I know why they've tried to do the progression system this way. Because it's a free-to-play game, obviously, number one. And number two, they want people to be playing all different types of modes and experience the entirety of the game. I dislike it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fun. I think I literally said the other day, I was like, so I'm getting wins and I'm getting all these kills. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm bottom of the leaderboard. Doesn't matter if I'm top of the leaderboard. Doesn't matter if I've got 20,000 headshots. Doesn't matter if there just isn't that sense of progression through the entire of the game. They are changing things, and things are changing very quickly, and it's nice to hear 343 be on top of it, but I think the whole progression system needs a rework.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think, I know they've come out and said that obviously now every match you get a 50 XP play any match update.
But that's not enough.
Worked it out as like 20, you have to play 20 matches to go up one level.
Great.
Which,
I put like 7 hours in, and I was still level 1.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
they only just
what?
recently updated it, and it's just like, yeah, it's not great. My main problem with it is that the challenges, again, like you said, they don't reward how well you do in a match. It is all very much do this specific scenario, which for me goes completely against what Halo is, because Halo is a team-based shooter.
Yeah.
And if all you're doing is objectives to not help the team, but to get certain kills or specific explosions and stuff.
Dude.
Like one of them's to blow up a warthog, it's like, how does that help the team?
Play Griffball, right? Yeah. Like, there's another thing I've got annoyance with. Playing Griffball, and the whole objective of the game is to carry this down ball and survive for the longest time. So I'm playing objective. I'm bottom of the leaderboard with the most time.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I'm doing what I should be top of the leaderboard because I'm doing what the objective is. It's like that is my biggest gripe with Halo Infinite. I never feel rewarded for doing the right thing. Getting kills, I'm not rewarded. Playing the objective, I'm not rewarded. Like, getting assists, I'm not rewarded. I just never feel rewarded while playing it.
The only time that ever comes into play is in ranked mode, and there is no benefit to ranking up as far as I can see, apart from just having a little badge next to your name.
Yeah.
And again, it's all very much about your KDA and ranked. But yeah, again, when it comes to the challenges and unlocking the cosmetics, none of that matters. It's all very much about those specific challenges that they've decided we need to do. And then obviously, if you don't want to do any of them and you want to skip them, it's going to cost you money.
Yep.
Because otherwise, you either pay for the, which I get, Battle Pass you need to pay for. It's how they get the long-term community involved and keep the game going for longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very much a case of you either don't help the team and do these objectives, or you pay your way out of it to get.
I know
extra
why it
boosts.
is, though. It's because
Yeah.
the battle pass is 6 months long. So they can't reward you for being good at the game,
No,
because otherwise you're going to blow through it.
Yeah.
And then they have no other, excuse me, they have no other content. So, yeah, that is the biggest disappointment I have with it. I do generally think the battle pass system needs a whole workaround, the progression system, sorry, not battle pass. Progression system, well, I suppose they're tied into each other intrinsically. But they need to be reworked. They need to be reworked.
I'm kind of hoping that, obviously, because this first season 1 battle pass is 6 months long. I'm hoping when they start moving towards a 3-month cycle that
It's going to be the same still.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that they'll do something like, again, giving them 6 months down the line, they can make a lot of changes. I'm hoping by that time they'll have a rework in place. It'll be a lot easier to upgrade, because doing this for 6 months, you might make it to 100. I think I've done about 20 hours in the game already.
Yeah.
And I think I'm at level 7 or 8 now.
Okay.
So it's slowly but surely improving, but like I'm hoping by the end of this that obviously they'll have made a massive improvement to it. It'll be a lot easier, because I can't imagine trying to hit level 100 with 3 months with this current progression system.
No.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah. No, I agree. Next piece of news is about Halo Infinite again. Shockingly, releasing Halo Infinite on Steam looks like it was a very good decision by Xbox. Halo Infinite's multiplayer was released the other day, and Xbox Game Studios' decision to launch it on Steam was a good decision. This one's from IGN, by the way, from Jared Moore, who says, as per Steam DB, the game has had a huge influx in players within the first day since release. Across the period, Halo Infinite's peak numbers, players eclipsed the 250,000 mark, which sat at 272,856, instantly ranking it at number 22 in the platform's all-time peak player counting ranking. It's placed above games like Payday 2, Rust, and Skyrim, Destiny 2 as well. So, good job, Halo. Congratulations to them. I'm glad the game's doing well. It was a very smart decision for them to launch this on Steam as well. As it was the only place where it was working, so I was happy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it finally kicked in on Xbox like an hour after the announcement, but yeah, I think Steam was definitely a good choice. I think it goes into what we're talking at the beginning of the show about like Microsoft's just plan for the future of just get the games everywhere and link it into the Xbox ecosystem, but as long as you're playing their games, they're happy.
Yep.
And I think it obviously shows that it's working well for them.
I mean, for it to be on Steam, they've got Game Pass. Obviously, you can play it through that. Why doesn't hurt them at all to put it on Steam?
It's a free-to-play game. It doesn't hurt them. I mean, I think it showed with Forza as well. I think the numbers for Steam alone were fantastic.
Yep.
And obviously, that is a paid game.
Yep.
So yeah, it makes total sense to put it everywhere and let people make the choice. And I think that's been basically Xbox's ethos from the beginning of just like give players the choice of how they want to play the games, except just not on Sony consoles, and that's fine.
Yeah. Next up, Saints Row has been delayed until August 2022. Deep Silver and Volition have today confirmed that Saints Row has officially been delayed. Volition? I've said that right.
Volition, yeah.
Volition, Saints Row's reboot is now due to arrive August 23rd, 2022, 7 months later than the initially planned arrival date on February 25th, 2022. Volition's chief creative officer, Jim Bone, announced the delay via Twitter and had this to say, quote, "Our priority is to create the best Saints Row game yet, and if we release on the original date, it would not be up to standards we've set ourselves, and that they're expecting and deserve," wrote Bone. "The team just needs more time to do our vision justice. We're doing some fine tuning, and there won't be much change to the game outside of the overall quality and polish. In all honesty, we underestimated the impact COVID would have on our schedule, although everyone adapted very quickly to working from home arrangements and continued to be incredibly productive. Sorry. Rest assured, there won't be any changes to the story or the characters or anything like that. We're lovingly imagined over the last few years and already shared with you. So there you have it. Big delay coming, which, to be honest with you, getting out of February for them is probably a good thing. Like January, February's packed as it is. So
I think that alone,
getting out is not the worst thing in the world. Not.
And I think we've, as like video game players and like just this community, I think we've kind of come to realize, like, if you've got to delay a game, fine, delay it. Whatever's best for the developers and the game in general. I'm fine waiting that extra few months. Again, I've waited an extra year for Halo, so I will wait an extra few months for Saints Row. And like you said at the beginning there, like, it is definitely good to get out of February. That is a busy month.
Yeah, it's good luck. Yeah. Good luck. Whatever you.
Some time off work.
Yeah. Next up, WWE 2K22 sees return of General Manager mode plus new factions mode. 2K has revealed a number of new features that will be part of WWE 2K22, including the long-awaited return of GM mode and a brand new mode in which you put together a faction of superstars from across every era of WWE. General Manager mode has not been seen in a WWE game since WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, but it will finally return in 2K22. The mode, just explaining what it is. If you don't know what it is, obviously go and check out IGN's article. You've got My GM, you've got factions, you've got My Rise mode, which allows you to experience the journey of a WWE superstar from rookie to legendary superstar, and the returning Universal Mode Creation Suite, etc., etc., etc. The game looks good. From what I've seen so far, graphically, it looks good. It looks fun. I'm a big WWE game fan. Always have been. I've loved the games. The last 3 have been absolute doo-doo from 2K.
Yeah.
Very, very, very bad. I'm hopeful for this one.
Yeah, I mean, it looks nice. As somebody who follows wrestling in general, I'm concerned because just talking non-gaming news, they have let a lot of people go recently.
Yep.
I'm concerned at how that's going to affect the roster.
Well, the roster's going to be tiny.
It's basically you versus The Undertaker in a 12-month match.
Teddy Long comes out and screams it, "You are going one-on-one with The Undertaker, player!"
It's a tag match, but we don't have anyone for you to tag with. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm interested to see how that's affected it, because I can imagine because a lot of this is like, with the cuts, it's like not a lot of leeway of like letting people know.
No.
So you've got to think, again, there's stories, there's voice lines and stuff for the GM mode and things like that are in there for characters that will no longer be in the game.
Yeah.
If those licenses
or maybe they are still in the game because they probably still have the license to the character.
Maybe.
With WWE, they probably still own the license to some of them. It's the weird thing. It's just going to be weird to see Daniel Bryan pop up. Won't be him, but you know what I mean.
Daniel Bryan?
Who's that? Son. What?
But yeah, I really want it to do well. I think the 2K games are always fun.
Yeah.
So I hope that it does well, just for the developers alone, because I know there was a lot of issues. I think was it the last game in WWE 2K20? I think was the last game that they made.
Yeah, they skipped 21.
Yeah, because 20 was.
20 was terrible.
Quote unquote unbacked,
Terrible.
Yeah, so I hope that the extra year has done them well. I hope that obviously the developers are good and they have managed to make a good game. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, I'm super looking forward to it. I'm probably going to try and do a series in it because I just enjoy playing wrestling games. So we'll see what happens though. Next up,
Nothing better than making. Like I said, nothing better than making a Royal Rumble and just letting the game play out.
play itself. Yeah, exactly.
Custom characters and just go for it.
Next up, Grand Theft Auto. Sorry, this is the last story. Grand Theft Auto: The Trilogy. Again, we've not actually spoken about much on the podcast. Gets its first major update. So for those who don't know, these games actually have launched in an absolute terrible state, which is really shocking from Rockstar, because Rockstar are usually. There's a reason we haven't got a new GTA in a whole generation, you know? And there's a reason they stopped doing the Vice Cities and the San Andreases and the offshoot games. I remember on the PSP, at one point, we were getting GTA games like every year at one point, and they were just like, nope, we're not doing this anymore. Obviously, this trilogy dropped. A lot of people were excited to go back and play San Andreas 3 and Vice City. I've not played it myself. I don't know how you got a review copy for this game, because Rockstar would just disappear. I don't know where they're at. But all I've seen is terrible news. So I'm hoping this update is the 1st of May that will fix the games, obviously. Have you played it at all, Despawn?
Yeah, and I hit a game-breaking bug within the first 10 minutes.
There you go.
So, yeah, I'm hoping that they fix it, because I do want to go back. So I tried so they did a weird thing of putting certain games on PlayStation Now.
Yeah, San Andreas is on Game Pass, yeah.
Yeah. So I tried San Andreas, and yeah, within the first 10 minutes, I couldn't continue. Basically, a bike spawned in the doorway of my house.
Okay.
And so whenever you tried to leave the house, it spawned to the left. And so when you tried to go down the stairs, you went into the section where it moves you back into your house. So I was just going in and out of my house constantly because there's a bike in my way. And it's like, cool.
Doesn't sound cool.
Cool. Like, oh shit, here we go again.
Oh shit, here we go again. Come on, man. Come on. Let's plug and get ourselves out of here this week, Deesp. What you got to plug this week, dude?
Me?
Yeah.
You can find me everywhere at Paul Despawn. That is twitch.tv, youtube.com, Twitter, everywhere. I've just released my second episode of the Despawn podcast, where we talk to fans about their fandoms. This week is about Kingdom Hearts, of all things. So yeah, so that was a very interesting conversation. So yeah, please go check that out.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've got nothing to plug right this precise moment. I mean, you can go check out the Dice Age, which is my new board game show over on Jinx. It's on their website as well, because a lot of people keep saying to me, I missed it live. I'll have a lot to talk about next week, because I know the date in which my episode of Game Masters goes out now, so I'll be able to talk about that next week. And I'm working on a video of why I've not uploaded for a month on YouTube, because I haven't uploaded for a whole month on YouTube for the first time in like a really long time. So yes, I will be back. I'm working on a whole video. It's a whole process. Unfortunately, my thoughts go out to, I don't know how many of you guys listening will know Shotgun McPain, but he's going through some stuff at the moment, and he's my editor. So he's not available to work. I have not been able to do it myself because I've been so overwhelmed and tired with other things. So yeah, I'll be back, I promise. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/myxboxandme. Go subscribe to youtube.com/mcfixer. Let Kresh and Matt P know they let you down this week for not showing up. Show all the love you can to Despawn, because he did show up and he's not even a part of the crew. How are you going to miss Halo Week, guys? After all the shit talk you want to give me, how are you gonna? Do you know what? Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Until next time, we will love you, leave you, and see you all later. Goodbyes.